Page 4, Song Sung Blue. And again, like I keep saying, you can play it just like it's written is fine if that's what you want to do, but I'm still going to suggest a few things. Starting in the right hand. It says legato. Okay, that means everything's connected, everything's smooth, there's no staccato. And all these notes are connected. For line 2, in the right hand, you're coming off of a F. For the last note in that first measure, for the second line, I recommend a third finger. I see no reason to use the thumb. I don't see the purpose of it. So just do that, and then you can play the half note in the second measure with your fourth finger. Now the C, you could play it with second finger if you want. It's there, why not? Or you can play with the thumb like they're suggesting. It's up to you. You try both and see what you think. On page 5, second line, first measure, be aware that there's a tie. So you're playing the FA. The 8th note, the last 8th note, is tied over to the half note. So you don't play it again on the half note, you hang on to it. So don't play it. That's incorrect. Put in the tie. On page 5, 4th line down, second measure, you're here. Again, for those quarter of the, starting with the second beat on the B, I recommend a 1, 2, 3. Your thumb's playing the F, but you could get away with that because it's a different phrase. Before you go with that, put you back in position for repeating or going on, whichever. Last line on page 5 in the right hand. They're showing a 3-5. You can use a 4-5 because if you put a second finger on the C, the note before it, then 4-5 comes in handy. And then you're ready for the third finger on the D. At the bottom of page 5, you have a little repeated section down there. It's the last line and the last measure, the next to the last line, it's repeated. And there's a note there that says second time, 8 VA, and fade or something like that. Meaning when you repeat in the right hand, instead of here, you're up here. To finish it off, second time around, right hand, not the left, just the right hand goes up. If they wanted the left hand to go up, they'd have to put both hands in that note. For the left hand, not a lot going on, so you can pretty much just play it like they suggest. Follow their fingering, you're fine. I don't see anything really overly tricky about the left hand as long as you follow the fingering and the rhythm isn't bothering you. Pedal. I think you could pretty much follow the pedaling just like they have it marked with a couple minor little changes. Ha 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 ha. At the bottom of page 4 in the last measure, it's down for that measure. And they're saying legato pedal it to the next one. I would I mean, you can do it that way, that's fine, but I would prefer the lift the pedal up at the end of the measure at the bottom of page 4. So there's a bit of a break before you go on. The right hand is slurred over. But you could connect it with the fingers. You don't need the pedal for that. And I would not pedal the first measure of the page 5. I'd leave the pedal out of it. So we get that sound. So to start with the last measure on page 4. It gives it a little more emphasis in my mind to do it that way than the way they're suggesting. You can do it their way too, it's fine. Since it's repeated, you can do it one way one time and another way the other time too. You can experiment with that. This is an arrangement, so once you know it, you can rearrange it. Just make sure you learn it first. At the bottom of page 5, but last line, first 2 measures, I would recommend a little bit of silence between those 2 measures, so I would not overlap those two measures. So here, so I would have a little silence, and you can do that with the pedal in the hands. The fermata at the end, the left hand, I'm going to hold that for 4 counts instead of 2. Okay. Other than that, there's a note at the bottom of page 4 to say swing the 8th notes, so you can swing them. That's fine. It's part of it's the style of the piece. Anyway, let's try this out together. 4/4 time. I'll give us 4 counts, and we'll try it slowly, of course. So hands here, here, foot's on the pedal. Okay. 1, 2, ready and go, and